You're listening to the Practical Wealth Show with Curtis May.
All right, welcome back to the Practical Wealth Show. I have a guest, Zack Boothe, and this is actually, we like him so much, we brought him back, okay? And he's an expert real estate investor. He's a coach. He's the host of Driving for Dollars Mastery, okay? And he's what Zack shares is going to share his insider secrets of finding massively discounted properties, regardless of experience level. And Zack went from a successful window cleaner to even a more successful millionaire real estate investor with consistently growing his business. He spends his time with others and helping others see how simple it is to make money with real estate. Zack has built a dream real estate business. He's going to show you how you can do it too. Zack, welcome to the Practical Wealth Show.
Thanks for having me back, brother. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And so one of the things that we start out while we're in the green room is, tell me a little about your story, because some of my newer listeners didn't have heard the first show. And then I want to talk about your challenge, because I think that's fascinating.
Love it. Yeah. So kind of a backstory on me as far as, my professional life, my business life. So when I was 17 years old, I started my first company as a window cleaning company and actually grew that for over a decade. From the outside looking in, I was successful, and I was successful because I learned a lot and I grew a lot and I built a pretty large company. But I was paycheck to paycheck. The bigger my company got, the less profits I was taking home.
Mm-hmm.
I really struggled to scale that business for a lot of reasons. Mostly it was me and my lack of understanding. And, but it was a good experience. It was really good. It provided a life for me and my family. But I walked away from it, and I didn't walk away with a bunch of money. I mean, I literally just said, I'm done. And I had a business partner and I wanted to do real estate investing. I guess that's kind of the story of getting into real estate investing when you feel like you're stuck in a job. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, me as personally though, I have two beautiful children and a wife I love. I spend a ton of time in the mountains, backpacking, and, I never had all the freedoms to do those kinds of things until I got into real estate.
Right.
And now I do too much of it.
Right.
But it's good, man. Yeah. Getting into real estate investing has been life-changing, 100%.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So, and the funny thing is, when you go into business, I was on a call with Myra Golden, and he said that his principles of business is, one is you need leverage, two is lifestyle, and then legacy, right? So lifestyle, you want to enjoy your life while you're living it. So I'm happy to, it's not all drudgery and work hard. You're in the mountains, you're spending time with your family, because if you don't have time to do that, what's the point of going through all this crap? Because you can't take it with you.
For sure. So, yeah. I was watching an interview of Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, and they were just sitting there arguing who works more, and all proud of, I work more than you. No, I work more than you. And I was like, what idiots? Like,
right. I
was like,
that's not the goal. Okay.
Yeah. The goal is like, I work less than you and have more results and change more lives and get more out of the time that I put in. Like, that should be the bragging rights, not who puts more hours in. That's crazy town.
So tell me why you and so tell them, so you actually flew to a city you'd never been to prove that you could still do what you do in today's market. Tell, what was the reason behind that, and then tell them what you did.
I went out and did a 40-day challenge, right? The challenge was I was going to take $1,000 and turn it into over 40 grand in 40 days. Right? I'm going to do what's called real estate wholesaling, where I find off-market discounted properties and sell the opportunity for a finder's fee, essentially. No risk, no debt, but I'm in the real estate space. I'm sourcing deals.
Mm-hmm.
And the power of this is, if you can get good at sourcing deals, you can sell the deals that don't make sense for your own holdings, for your own rentals or whatever, or your own Airbnbs or whatever you're trying to source.
Mm-hmm.
You sell the ones for lump sums of cash and then cherry pick the best ones, right? That's why I originally got into this business. And, I'm making anywhere between $5,000, and my biggest deal is 103 grand to sell a purchase contract, right? It's crazy. And I was very skeptical. I thought it's too good to be true. And on top of that, even if you could get properties at 40 cents on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar, I thought that meant you took advantage of people. And it didn't sit right with me in my belly. It's like, no, this is not the business I want to be a part of, because even if you could do it, you're taking advantage of people, right? So for the longest time, I kept hearing about it. I was buying a few pieces of real estate, but very slowly. So many barriers, down payments, debt to income ratios, all of the issues with trying to buy them the traditional route from the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And so something happened to me, really why I did the 40-day challenge. So I was washing windows for a guy named Stan Nielsen. Stan was this wealthy developer in his 80s, just the nicest guy. And I'm cleaning his mansion, washing his windows. And I got talking to him, found out he's a developer. And of course, I wanted to know everything. So for about an hour and a half, I talked to him and listened to his story and how he retired when he was young, from a civil engineer to doing real estate developing and real estate investing. So I was, man, if I could just get 2 rentals this year, I'd be so happy, is what I said. And he said, oh, that's so convenient. I've got these 2 properties side by side. I don't want to deal with them. He gave them to me at a huge discount. He gave them to me seller finance. He was educating me on the process. I mean, I tried to talk him out of signing the agreements because I was terrified. I didn't know what I was doing. He was writing down the agreement on a piece of blank white paper. Right. And I was like, well, don't we need an attorney? Don't we need... I was terrified. Anyways, a year and a half later, I sold both of them, made over $100,000 profit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I was like, okay, hold on a minute. I just got a deal of a lifetime. But people talk about how this is a common practice, that people just want convenience. They want speed over the price. They don't care. They don't need the money. They don't want the money. They prefer the freedom in life, kind of like we were talking about. Right. The quality of life was more important than the money that would have taken to do all the work and do what I did. So I was like, all right, I need to do more of this. And so I got serious. I got a coach, gave me the steps, and I went crazy, but I wouldn't have taken those steps to like get a coach and to work my butt off, because once I hired that coach, first 8 months, I made over $100,000. The next year, just shy of $500,000. The next year, 1.2 million. But I wouldn't have had that progression or that jump. I wouldn't have walked away from a company that I built for a decade if I didn't believe in it.
Right.
Because I was a major skeptic. You don't ever take massive action until you believe it. Right. And so just to keep things simple, I became a coach. Right. It was never intended. It was never a plan. I happened upon helping some people and I fell in love with it. It's my passion project. It's my purpose. It's my mission. I absolutely love it. So I was up super late one night and I'm like, how do I get people from skeptic to a believer? Because I want to change lives, right? And I can't change lives unless they believe in the process, they believe in themselves, they believe that they can do it. I'm like, okay, well, how do I show them that I'm no one special and that they're just as smart as me? They're just as capable as me. And understand like that it's a lot of hard work, yes, and it sucks to do, but they can do it. And if they're willing to, they can have the financial freedom I have. So I was up late, like trying to figure out how to inspire people. And I'm like, you know what? What took me from a skeptic to a believer? Well, I washed windows for Stan.
Right.
I met Stan. I saw it happen. It's really hard to not believe when you see it happen. Right. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and show people. I'm going to document day by day what it takes. But I'm like, well, I can't do it here in Utah where I live, where I have my team and everything else, because they'll be like, well, I don't have a team and I don't have all the money and I don't have the marketing dollars that you have. They don't have what I have now, right? Because they didn't build it yet.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, I got to start from scratch. I got to show them what it looks like from scratch. I got to show them the hustle, the grind, the blood, sweat, and tears, right? So I got a plane ticket, an Airbnb, and a car rental in Tampa. I had never been to Tampa. I'd been to Florida, yes, but never to Tampa. Mm-hmm. And the goal was to take $1,000 and turn it into over 40 grand in 40 days. 40 grand was because it's the average American income. And I thought that was a good number. Mm-hmm. What I really cared about was not how much money I was going to make, but to show people the process and at least find one seller that would give me a deal of a lifetime. Right. That was the hope because I wanted to inspire. It wasn't about me like showing off my skills or anything like that. It's to show people the step-by-step, the grind, what it takes to source real estate investing opportunities that will change your life. And so that's what I did. That's why I did it.
That's incredible because that takes heart to kind of put your money where your mouth is. It's like, all right, I've made a lot of money, and people get like, all right, I'm chilled. I don't do this anymore, and so now you hit the street back in the day. It's like, what's that, the old Rocky movie, The Eye of the Tiger? Like you got to take them back to the gym back in the hood. and make sure he still got it. And so that's and has never been there. So I just want you to hear that, because now why could he do that, guys? Because investing is not about buying, it's about becoming. And Zack has become an expert. So it doesn't matter where he goes, the principles and the fundamentals are the same. Okay, that's the lesson. All right, now how can you become? It's be, do, have. So now we're going to talk about the doing, but he had to be first, right? And so tell them a little about your process, and I guess, continue with that, however you want to do it. And then, how do they do that? What does driving for dollars mean? That kind of thing.
Yep. Wonderful. So like you said, becoming is very important, right? And I knew that I could go to any market in the country. And you might ask, why'd you go to Tampa? Is that less competitive? No, it was warm. It was January.
Right.
I didn't want to go somewhere cold. Like that was my criteria.
That's
it could be done anywhere in the country.
Warm, right?
Yeah. It could be done anywhere. Okay. So, and plus there's flights out of there to Brazil, right? My family was in Brazil visiting my wife's family. My wife's from there. There was a couple personal reasons, like that's why it's there. Okay. So, right. But yeah, what helped me become was not because I'm great, guys. It was because I had a great coach.
Yes.
That gave me the steps on how to wholesale and how to do things. Right. One of the things that I've put in place and perfected over the years is my process to find deals, right? My lead generation system. It's not something I invented. Driving for dollars has been around since the beginning of real estate investing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Driving for dollars is basically you drive around, you identify ugly houses, and you find out who owns it and see if they want to sell, right? It's that simple. And if they do want to sell, then you pre-qualify them of, do you want to list it and squeeze every penny out, or do you want speed and convenience? Your goal is to find someone that wants a pawn shop for their house, right? And driving for dollars is, in my opinion, is the best way of all of the marketing strategies out there to get started in sourcing off-market discounted properties and to scale and automate a wholesaling business, right? This strategy has been taught forever and ever that this is only for beginners, but it's not for beginners. It's the best way to start, but guess what? It's the best way to scale. It's the best marketing channel that exists. I make over $1 million a year from this marketing channel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to Tampa, my process, what I did and how I did it, you guys can watch it all. It's free on my YouTube day by day, right? I share what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. You see my scripts, you see it all, right? Like if there's no like, I'm only going to show them just enough where they have to join my program. Yes, I coach, and yes, I'll serve you and help you and, cheer for you and give you everything you need to be successful as a coach. But I didn't want to do this just to be like, oh, buy my program. That's not why I do what I do. Right. So the processes that I did when I got there is I landed and I immediately went to work on 3 things at the same time. I had to get a cash buyers list built up. Right. So I had people to sell my deals to. I had to focus on making sure we were good to go with the title company, which was a nightmare. I picked the wrong one. Since had to switch.
Okay.
And then I immediately started building my marketing list. So I could reach out to people and see if they wanted to sell. So I started driving. I used a deal machine. Deal machine is an app that I use. So I don't use everything in that app. And I was adding about 100 properties, anywhere between 50 to 100 properties to my marketing list for every hour of driving. The goal is to build a large list to reach out to. And here in Utah, I'm right and I have a system around it to squeeze as much money out of every single list as possible. But there, I didn't have the marketing dollars to do all 3. Right. And so I picked one that takes more time, but a little bit less money, which is cold calling. All I had to do was pay for phone numbers, which are about 14 cents a phone number if you use my discount code. Anyways, it's all in the videos if you want to see step-by-step how to do it. And then I got a triple line dialer called mojosales.com. So I was calling 3 people at one time and I was just pounding the phones. I had a 4-day stint during that challenge that I never left the house. I never stopped cold calling from the time I got out of bed to the time I went to bed.
How many calls would you say you did a day?
I was cooking and cold calling.
Okay.
Right. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It sucked to be in the trenches again, because on top of, doing all that cold calling, I still have all my students that I was serving. I still had, my wholesaling team and my real estate investing business.
Did they know what you were doing? Had you told them what you were doing, or you just went out there and started doing it?
No, everyone knew. I mean, I
Okay.
would promote it on my podcast. Like I put
Okay.
myself out there, I'm going to do
Mhm.
this. And so people knew that I might fail. I knew that I might fail. It was scary,
That is
right? It
scary.
was very
Yeah.
uncomfortable because I didn't care if I fell short of the 40 grand. Like honestly, personally, it wasn't for my ego, but I prayed before I left. I said, God, please give me a Stan Nielsen. Please give me that one person so they can see what it looks like,
Mhm.
right? Just at least one. I don't care how much money I make. Like, please let me do this so that I can serve and make the impact that I'm trying to make and bless other people's lives like you bless mine. Like that was my prayer. Day 4 of the challenge, I called the guy named Jerry Tidwell. He's actually been on my podcast since. I called the wrong number and Jerry's like, yeah, and you can listen to this conversation if you want on day 4 of the challenge. But he's like, yeah, I don't know if I own that house. He's like, honey, do we own the 123 Elm Street? I can't remember what address I had asked him about. And I'm like, okay, this guy's got multiple properties. He doesn't even know which ones he owns, right? So I was like, Jerry, don't worry about it. And it was the wrong number, by the way. I was like, do you happen to have any properties that you would like to sell though? And he's like, oh, that's convenient. Yeah, I have 3. And I'm like, okay, great. Where are they? And he tells me about the properties. They're all fixed up. They're great condition. I'm like, Jerry, they sound like they're great properties, and they're great condition. Why don't you just list it with an agent and squeeze as much out as possible? Take your time and make as much as you can. And he's like, I don't care. Those are his exact words.
Wow.
I don't care. And he's like, I was like, great. Well, I'd be happy to buy them. We talked about a price real quick over the phone, which was half of the value. Went over to the house and had a conversation. And I walked away with 3 purchase agreements day 4. And I got extremely, extremely emotional. I found out, in the 4 hours hanging out with them and talking to them about their needs and their wants and their time frame. And Jerry was telling all the stories of how he willed and dilled and built his wealth and done what I was doing. Right. I mean, he was very educated, wealthy investor. He was exactly what I prayed for, right? To show people that you can do this well and make a lot of money and it's wholesome. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I built an amazing relationship, found out at the end of the conversation, he was dying of cancer. And he just had these properties he didn't want his wife to have to deal with when he was gone. He had a bunch of other ones, but these ones were far and also in not very nice areas. He didn't want his wife dealing with them, right? So it was serving him. He wanted to spend his last days enjoying life, not worrying about listing a property and dealing with agents and multiple showings and renegotiating price, everything that comes with listing a house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was serving him in his situation. Anyways, I got really emotional, right? You'll see in day 4, you see me cry ugly tears. But it was very humbling. Right. And, I felt like I accomplished the goal that day, but we ended up getting 7 total purchase contracts signed in that 40 days. So, I mean, it wasn't the only success that we had. We blew the financial goals that I had set out of the water. I was very humbled, and very, very grateful and excited for everything that we did and the content that was produced for people.
I want to delve into the business a little bit. So and because I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. So I view, or I've said this, and I want to, so this is your error. So I want you to either verify or correct me, which is fine. All right. Is that I view wholesaling as more, not investing, as more of a transactional business. And I believe the buy and hold is more investing, where you're building wealth, you get income, and then holding is wealth. And it seems like you like you said, you are, solving, basically you're solving people's problems, right? Is how you acquire the properties. And then, but you've got some that you look for that you want to keep in your portfolio to build passive income. Is that how you approach wholesaling and your overall business? I want to kind of pull that out for people.
I couldn't agree with you more. It is a transactional business. Mm-hmm. So is flipping houses.
Yes.
Right. It's very, it's speculation. It's transactional. It's even taxed differently.
Yes.
It's even taxed differently. It's in a completely different tax category. I can wholesale or flip a house and it's earned income. Mm-hmm. I'm not allowed to 1031, meaning transfer all the profits into the next investment tax-free, right? Where a buy and hold I can. So it's taxed differently. There's different things. 100% it is a transactional business. But I will make this statement. All real estate investing is marketing. Our product is real estate.
Yes. Come on. Keep going.
If you want to do giant multifamily syndications, where's the value? The value is finding the deal. If you want to flip houses, you got to get it at a good price. If you want to wholesale, you got to get it at a good price. Airbnbs, buy and holds, everything requires that you buy right. Because if you can get a property at 30, 40 cents on the dollar, you're kind of an idiot if you don't make money. Like it's really hard to make money. Like a lot of people
tell buy of acquiring it, at below market so that you price it right. You make money, you're not hope, because buying it, hoping it goes up is the definition of speculation.
Yeah, it's gambling. It's like gambling. Buying retail stocks and go, I hope it goes up. I hope it goes up. And then it's like, and then you're gonna be stuck with a 401k and it might take you 6 years. My net worth in the last 8 months has gone up over $1 million. The last 8 months. My dad has been at the same job since he was 19. He's now 60. He's going to be 61 here in a couple months. Same job. It took him that much time to build his net worth by having a 401k, investing in mutual funds. There's nothing wrong with that. I admire my dad. I respect the hell out of him, but dude, he's worked much harder than me in those 50 years than I have in the last year.
Right. Money loves speed. Right.
Yes.
And
exactly.
So we got to get this thing done and get y'all out the rat race. Okay.
Yeah. The only reason, you ask, like, is wholesaling, isn't that, transactional? It is 100%. But my thing was when I started wanting to buy and hold and build wealth and have cash flow and have passive income and all the reasons people want to invest into real estate and to be able to have the tax advantages and showing a phantom loss against my income. So I pay no taxes, but in reality, my property is going up in value. And then if I do sell it, I roll it into another one tax-free, you defer, die. And your money's going up and all those things, right? But what made me want to get into wholesaling is I had all these barriers that kept me from buying more real estate when I had a different type of job or a different type of business, right?
Yeah.
But the reason I got into wholesaling or wanted to at least understand it and do it on the side, at very least, is I wanted to source investment properties because I understood real estate investing is marketing if we can't get a good deal. So think about the power of this. Imagine you have a company and it's putting 5 to 10 deeply discounted properties, anywhere between 60 to 40% off of the retail value that comes across your table every single month. Every single week. And you can go, I'd rather have 50 grand cash. I'd rather have 20 grand cash. I'd rather have the 100 grand cash. Oh, this one I'm going to keep. My net worth is going to go up by 80 grand. My cash flow is going to be another $2,000 a month. And I only have to put 4 grand into this property. Right. It's a no brainer. Keep it. Right. And so what I've done is I've created a wealth machine. Right. Yeah. That's why I got into wholesaling.
And so you can source a deal. So marketing, the direct approach, driving for dollars and learning how to get out there, and it's you doing the work and making calls, right? And it don't take a whole lot of money to do that, so you can get started if you learn the fundamentals. And 100%. So that's what I love about it. You got to be able to get in the game and it's work. See, so all work works. So if it's, I heard Byron Golden say, and if it's not working, it's working on you, right? Because you got to learn how to do it, right? And so most people give up too soon. They don't give their efforts time to compound, and they're not really working. Like he just said, he was his first 4 days, he was on the phone all day long. And so marketing is, you've got to create activity. Now he does postcards and he has a lot of inbound stuff happening. But to start out, if y'all don't have all that stuff, you don't know the neighborhood yet. You don't, you got to get out there, and there's some work to do at the beginning, but it didn't take them that long to become financially free.
100%. And the other thing too is a lot of people think, well, I don't want to grind my whole life. It's like, well, neither do I, and I don't. Right. You can eventually, once you have all this cash and a system in place, your marketing and leads are coming in, you can put a team in place. When I went and did that 40-day challenge, I had negotiated a deal for my own sale for my own company for over a year. Right. I had helped people negotiate. I had taught people how to negotiate. I'd done millions myself, but I have a team that does all of it for me, right? I have a team that does my marketing and my cold calling and my texting and sending my postcards and going out on appointments. And what I get to do now is I get to look at my profit and loss statements. How much am I spending? How much is coming in on all my different marketing channels? What's working? What's not working? And I evaluate the deals. It's like, okay, we can wholesale it for this much. Here's all of our offers. I look at my own investments. How much money have I put away in cash over the last couple of months? Do I want to hold more? I get to pick and choose what I do with the deals, right? So in the beginning, if you don't have the financial resources to build and create this team quickly, like you can grind to get started and quickly get there. That's what I had to do, right? That's what most people have to do. They have to bootstrap.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, that's not your whole life though. It's a couple years if you're willing to do it, and you had mentioned other things like the process isn't hard. It's what's more important is you have to work. And, my grandfather on his deathbed, his advice was me, I said, Grandpa, what would you like to say to me? Basically this is the last time we'll speak. We knew he was dying. And I said, Zach, the harder I work, the luckier I got. And I think that message rings true. Right. But I think a lot of times people just want to figure it out on themselves and they don't want to learn from other people that have made all the mistakes. And one of the worst things that I did is I tried to figure it out on myself for a long time. And I hired Tom Kroll. He doesn't coach anymore, but he changed my life, right? He gave me the steps. He gave me exactly what to do. So when I went to work and rolled up my sleeves and put my heart and soul into it, I knew what needed to be done in what order. Right. And so I think
which is important. What needs to get done and in what order? Yes. That's yep.
Yeah. So I would suggest getting a coach. And yes, I'm a coach, but I'm not saying that because I'm a coach. I'm saying that because that's what helped me. And I've seen that help so many other people. And so if you think I'm saying that because I'm trying to recruit you as a student, go find a different coach. Like seriously. Right. So I think that is so important to understand and have the processes in place for you to be successful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, anything else you want to say before we go there? And then you had a tip sheet you wanted to share with our audience.
Yeah, I want to share a gift with the audience. So there's lots of ways to find off market discounted properties, whether you want to buy and hold or wholesale. There's a lot of people talking about like radio and PPC and Facebook ads. And like I said earlier, a lot of people look at driving for dollars and think driving for dollars is only for beginners. And it's the furthest thing from the truth. It is by far the best and the fastest way to make an absolute fortune in real estate investing. And I'll argue that point with anybody.
Okay.
And anyways, I have a resource. I outline the 7 reasons why it is the best marketing channel. I call it the 7 reasons why driving for dollars is the fastest way to make an absolute fortune in real estate investing. And so it's a free resource. You guys can get it. I'll email it to you. Just go to dfdmastery.com/7 and free. Okay. The number 7 free. So dfdmastery.com/7 free. And I'll ask you to give me your email and I'll email it over to you. And then I'll also send you some more cool information, some podcast episodes and so forth that you guys can check out and have a better understanding of what you need to do and what needs to be done to be successful in doing driving for dollars.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So guys, when you hear this, I want to put it in show notes, learn some stuff. So if real estate is your thing, or you want real estate to be your thing, Zack just gave you a blueprint for how to get started, how to make money, how to source deals, and it doesn't matter where you live as long as there are people there, right? And there are houses there, right?
Yeah, you gotta find houses.
Okay? Gotta be houses. It can't be on like an Indian reservation, and you might be able to do it there. I don't know, but yeah, and that's the thing. And then learning some stuff, and so I'm excited. I also watch the YouTube also because it's not all bright lights and glamour. Business is not all bright lights and glamour, and that there's some emotion and it sucks. But you gotta, what did somebody say? You gotta love the suck initially.
Embrace the suck, right?
Right. Embrace the suck. But because it's not going to stay that way, but you have to go through that. And then because I'm impressed that you embrace the suck again. Well, you're already rich, right? It's like, wait, what? I got to stay here. I was like, I'm used to the Ritz-Carlton. What's up with that? And so that's really cool. So tell them about your podcast. Where can they find that?
Yeah. So my podcast is called Driving for Dollars Mastery.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of the podcast is give you guys the ins and outs of everything around real estate investing, but yeah, driving for dollars. So a lot of the guests are actual students of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and they share their deals. They break down their deals, what they did, how they did it. And I have a couple solo episodes, but yeah, it's an awesome podcast. I started it shortly after I got back from the challenge. That was my next task and my next way to give back and serve people. I got bored, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have in place.
There's no such thing. Like that's a man-made concept. So we're put here to be creative, to serve. To retirement is what agriculture turned to mean to put out of use. At 27, you've got plenty of to give and stuff, and people need you because it's tough out there, and they need. Look, there's light at the end of this tunnel. You just got to learn some new stuff. You got to move out of scarcity. There is more than enough for everybody to have more than enough. And I don't think that message of prosperity gets out there. Wealth has to be created before it can be redistributed. So, and there's some people in Washington need to understand that point, but I digress. So we won't, I won't go there. But Zack, so it's good to have you back on, brother. It was fascinating. I learned a lot. I got like half page of notes here, and y'all go, and we're going to put his stuff in the show notes and go to the YouTube channel, watch the challenge. If you check out the show, and then make sure that you get the 7 Reasons Why report.
For sure.
Zack, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
All right. My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Practical Wealth. To access the show notes and resources, go to practicalwealthshow.com. To get your questions on the show, go to practicalwealthshow.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Practical Wealth. Written permission must be granted before